Story 1. The cabin, slow, deliberate, like someone finally telling a secret they've carried for years. I was 25, maybe 26, before the wedding, before the kids, back when I believed that surviving alone in the wilderness meant something, that it made me stronger than whatever the wilderness could throw at me. I was wrong. The trip was in the Cherokee National Forest, no trail markers, no cell service, no one who knew exactly where I was. That was the point. It was supposed to be peaceful. It wasn't. The storm came in fast, the way mountain storms do, without warning and without mercy. One moment, clear sky. The next, lightning-splitting trees 20 yards away and rain so heavy I couldn't see the ground beneath my feet. And then, through the trees, a shape, a cabin, small, one story, metal roof, old enough that it seemed to have grown from the earth rather than been built on it. I went inside. It was dry, dim. It smelled wrong. The kind of smell that settles into a place after something terrible has had time to rot. A chair, a table, a cot frame stripped to bare metal, a stone fireplace choked with old ash. I sat down on the floor and breathed. Then curiosity did what it always does. I started looking around. In the corner, a sleeping bag, newer than everything else in the room. Much newer. Water jugs, canned food. Someone had been using this place. I moved the flashlight to the wall near the door. Scratches, dozens of them, deep, frantic, carved into the wood at chest height, then lower. The kind of marks left by someone who had been at it for a long time. I opened the door slightly and looked at the frame. A padlock bracket on the outside. I checked the window. Screws drilled from the outside, sealing it shut. Around the inside edge, deep gouges in the wood, like someone had tried, over and over, to tear it open. Someone had been kept here, locked in. I told myself to leave. The storm told me no. So I stayed. I don't know how much time passed before I heard the scraping along the outer wall. Slow, deliberate, moving toward the door, heavy footsteps on the porch, pressure against the door. The latch rattled once, and then went still. Silence. I stood there and asked myself a question that I should have asked sooner. If someone was outside in that storm, why weren't they coming in? And then the answer came to me. Because they didn't want in, they wanted me to stay. I grabbed my pack, started moving, and then the window exploded inward. Whatever came through it hit the floor, and the walls ignited, not slowly, the way wet wood burns, but instantly, like the room had been waiting for a match. The walls had been prepared, soaked in something. This had been planned. I hit the door with everything I had. It gave way. I ran. I made it maybe 50 yards before someone hit me from behind. We fought in the mud and the rain. Real, desperate, ugly. He had his hands around my throat. I gouged and screamed and shoved until he let go. I didn't look back. Behind me, through the trees, the cabin was a fireball in the dark. I ran until I couldn't run anymore. I reached the trailhead at dawn, went to the hospital. Second-degree burns, smoke inhalation, a body that felt like it had been put through something it wasn't designed to survive. The police took my statement. Nothing ever came of it. I never told my wife, and I have never backpacked alone since. Story 2. The Tower, slightly younger in tone. Two friends before either of them understood what the world could hold. This was 7 years before the cabin, before I knew better. My friend Charles and I found it off trail, an abandoned fire lookout tower rising 70 feet above the tree line. No fencing, no warnings, just rusting steel and the kind of silence that dares you to break it. Charles was already climbing before I finished reading the graffiti at the base. We went up carefully. Loose bolts, steps that shifted under weight. A vertical ladder near the top that required you to commit completely or not at all. We committed. The view from the cab was worth it, at first. Sunset bleeding across the canopy, stars coming out one by one until the sky was so full of them it felt close enough to touch. Then Charles hit his metal water bottle against the railing. The sound rang out like a struck bell, sharp and enormous, carrying for what must have been miles in every direction. I told him to stop. He laughed. Neither of us was laughing later. Charles pulled me outside, pointed down. A light in the forest, far below, maybe a quarter-mile out, moving toward us through the trees, not swinging, not bobbing, gliding, steady and smooth in a way that didn't make sense for any light source I could name. We watched it for 10 minutes. It covered ground faster than it should have.